Have you ever had someone in your life who constantly made you feel invisible? Someone who always found a way to diminish you, to make you feel like you didn't matter? What I'm about to tell you happened on what was supposed to be the most beautiful night of the summer. A sunset boat ride with family and friends. But it became the night everything changed. Pause for effect. This is a story about years of being pushed aside, one whispered comment too many, and the moment I finally pushed back. But before we set sail on this story, if you enjoy real-life drama and stories about standing up for yourself, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you won't want to miss where this goes. Act 1. The background, 2 to 11 o'clock. Narrator: my name is Alex, and I'm 26 years old. To understand what happened on that boat, you need to understand my relationship with my cousin Victoria. Or Tori, as everyone called her. Tori is 2 years older than me, and for as long as I can remember, she's been the center of attention in our family. Beautiful, confident, charismatic. The kind of person who walks into a room and everyone's eyes automatically go to her. Pause. And I was always in her shadow. We grew up in the same town, went to the same schools, shared the same extended family gatherings. Our mothers are sisters, and they're incredibly close, which meant Tori and I were constantly thrown together. Birthday parties, holidays, family vacations, she was always there. When we were kids, it wasn't so bad. Sure, she got more attention, but I didn't really notice or care. But as we got older, something shifted. Tori started treating me less like a cousin and more like an inconvenience. Music shifts to slightly melancholic tone. It started with small things. We'd be at a family party, and I'd be telling a story, and she'd interrupt with something about herself. Everyone would turn their attention to her, and my story would just die. Or we'd be planning something with our group of cousins, and somehow my ideas would get dismissed while hers would be celebrated. "Alex, that's not really practical," she'd say with this condescending smile. "Why don't we do it my way instead?" The worst part? Everyone always agreed with her. Our family, our mutual friends, they all orbited around Tori like she was the sun. In high school, I started playing guitar. I was actually pretty good, joined a band, started performing at local venues. For the first time, I had something that was mine, something where I wasn't in Tori's shadow. But even that didn't last. Tori suddenly became interested in music too. She started a YouTube channel doing covers, and because she was beautiful and charismatic, it blew up. Suddenly, I wasn't Alex who plays guitar. I was Tori's cousin who also plays guitar. I tried to be happy for her. I really did. But every success of mine became about her. When I got into a good college, the family conversation became about how Tori had gotten into an even better one 2 years before. When I landed my first real job after graduation, it was compared to Tori's more impressive position at a tech startup. And through all of this, Tori would make these little comments. Never in front of everyone, she was too smart for that. But when it was just the two of us, or in small groups, she'd say things. "Must be nice not having everyone's expectations on you. You're lucky you can just coast through life. I wish I could be as low-key as you, Alex. It must be so much less stressful." Pause. Each comment was small enough to seem harmless. But they added up. Death by 1,000 cuts, you know. 6 months ago, things got worse. I started dating someone, Maya. She's incredible. Smart, funny, kind. For the first time in years, I felt genuinely happy and confident. Tori met Maya at a family barbecue. I watched them talk, and something in my gut told me this wasn't good. Sure enough, later that week, Tori started texting Maya directly. Friendly messages at first, then invitations to hang out without me. I tried to tell myself I was being paranoid. Maya assured me Tori was just being nice, trying to welcome her to the family. But I knew Tori. This was something else. Then came the boat trip. Act 2, the night of the boat ride, 11 to 2200 hours. Narrator: every summer, our family rents a yacht for a sunset cruise on the lake. It's a tradition going back years. This year, it was extra special because my Uncle Richard was celebrating his 60th birthday. The boat was beautiful, a 50-foot yacht with an upper deck, a spacious lower cabin, and room for about 20 people. Our whole extended family was going: my parents, Tori's parents, various aunts and uncles, cousins, and significant others. Maya was coming too, her first big family event. I was actually excited. Despite everything with Tori, I loved these boat rides. There's something magical about being on the water at sunset, surrounded by family. We boarded around 6 p.m., just as the sun was starting its descent. The water was calm, reflecting the orange and pink sky. Everyone was in high spirits, cocktails flowing, music playing from the boat's speakers. For the first hour or so, everything was perfect. Maya fit right in, charming everyone she met. My mom loved her. Even my notoriously difficult Aunt Patricia was won over. But I noticed Tori watching us. Not overtly, just observing. It made me uncomfortable. As the sun started setting, most people gathered on the upper deck for the best view. The captain had anchored us in the middle of the lake, and the whole sky was ablaze with color. It was stunning. I was standing at the railing with Maya, my arm around her, just taking it all in. Some of my cousins were nearby, chatting and taking photos. The moment felt perfect. That's when Tori appeared next to me. Music becomes more tense. "Beautiful night," she said, leaning against the railing on my other side. "Yeah, it really is," I replied, not thinking much of it. "Maya seems to be enjoying herself," Tori continued. "She is. Everyone's been so welcoming." There was a pause. Then Tori leaned in closer, her voice dropping to almost a whisper. Just loud enough for me to hear over the music and conversation, but not loud enough for Maya or anyone else to catch. "You know, Alex," she said, her tone casual but with an edge I recognized, "you just get in the way. You always have. Everyone's having such a good time, and you're just there, taking up space. Maya's great, by the way. She deserves better than someone who's always playing catch-up." Let that land. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. I turned to look at her, but she was smiling, waving at someone across the deck like she'd just commented on the weather. Something inside me snapped. Not into anger, into clarity. All those years of small comments, of being made to feel less than, of watching her subtly undermine me while maintaining her perfect image. It crystallized in that moment. I took a breath and made a decision. Instead of shrinking away like I always did, I spoke. Not in a whisper. In a clear, carrying voice. "That's interesting advice, Tori. Tell me, does Maya deserve better than someone who sent her boyfriend a series of pretty inappropriate texts last month?" Dramatic pause. The conversations around us started to falter. People were beginning to tune in. Tori's smile froze. "What are you talking about?" "Oh, I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. The texts where you told Maya she could do better. Where you invited her out for drinks and suggested she should be with someone more ambitious and successful. Where you made it very clear you were talking about yourself." Maya's head whipped toward Tori. My cousin Jake, who'd been standing nearby, said, "Wait, what?" Tori's face went pale, then red. "Alex, that's not, you're taking it out of context." But I wasn't done. Years of silence were pouring out. "And while we're being honest, should we talk about how you've spent the last 20 years making sure everyone knows you're better than me? More successful, more talented, more worthy of attention? Should we talk about how you can't stand that for once I have someone, in my life that makes me happy, so you had to try to take that too?" Let the tension build. By now, the entire upper deck had gone quiet. Everyone was staring. My parents, Tori's parents, all our relatives and friends. Even the music seemed to fade into the background. Maya spoke up, her voice tight. "Tori, is this true? Did you really send those texts?" Tori looked around desperately, seeing all the eyes on her. This was her nightmare, not being the center of attention in a good way, but being exposed. "I was just trying to be friendly," she said weakly. "Alex is being dramatic." "Show them, Maya," I said quietly. Maya hesitated, then pulled out her phone. She scrolled for a moment, then held it out to my Aunt Linda, who was standing closest. "Read them," Maya said. My aunt took the phone, her expression growing more shocked as she read. She passed it to my uncle, who passed it to Tori's mom, who passed it to my mom. Each person's face told the same story: disbelief, disappointment, anger. Tori, her mother said, her voice shaking, please tell me this isn't what it looks like. But before Tori could respond, my cousin Jake spoke up. You know what? I'm not even surprised, he said. Tori's always been like this. We just never called her out on it. What do you mean? My dad asked. Jake looked uncomfortable but continued. Remember when Alex got that scholarship for music? Tori spent the entire family dinner talking about how scholarships weren't really that hard to get, and how she turned down several. She couldn't just let Alex have his moment. My cousin Rachel nodded. And when Alex got his first apartment, she made all those comments about how it was cute, but small, and she could never live somewhere like that. It was like a dam breaking. Person after person started sharing their own observations, their own moments where they'd noticed Tori subtly putting me down or stealing my spotlight. I always thought something was off, my mom said quietly, looking at me with tears in her eyes. Alex, why didn't you say something? Because who would have believed me? I said. Tori's perfect. Tori's the golden child. Anything I said would have just sounded like jealousy. Tori was standing there, looking more vulnerable than I'd ever seen her. But then something shifted in her expression. The mask of perfection cracked, and underneath was something uglier. You want to know the truth, she said, her voice rising. Fine. Yes, I sent those texts to Maya. Yes, I thought she could do better than you. Because it's true, Alex. You've always been mediocre. Average. You're the cousin everyone tolerates but nobody really cares about. The entire boat was silent except for the lapping of water against the hull. I worked hard to be where I am, Tori continued, her composure completely gone now. I built myself up, made myself successful, made myself someone people actually want to be around. And you? You just coast. You've always just coasted. Playing your guitar at dive bars, working your boring office job, dating girls who... Enough. Tori's father roared. I'd never heard Uncle Marcus raise his voice like that. Victoria, that is enough. But it wasn't. Tori was on a roll, years of maintaining her perfect image finally exploding. You're all acting like I'm the villain here, but none of you understand the pressure. Being the oldest, being the one everyone expects perfection from. At least Alex gets to be invisible. At least he doesn't have everyone judging his every move. Invisible. I said quietly, but the word carried across the deck. You think I wanted to be invisible? You think I chose that? Tori, you made me invisible. Every time I had a success, you overshadowed it. Every time I tried to speak, you talked over me. Every time I had something good in my life, you found a way to diminish it. I felt Maya's hand slip into mine, squeezing. And the worst part? I continued, my voice breaking slightly. I looked up to you. For years, I thought if I could just be more like you, if I could just be good enough, you'd finally treat me like I mattered. But nothing was ever enough because you didn't want a cousin. You wanted an audience. Pause for emotional weight. Tori opened her mouth to respond, but nothing came out. For once in her life, she had nothing to say. My Aunt Catherine, Tori's mom, stepped forward. I think we need to talk, she said to Tori, her voice cold in a way I'd never heard. Privately. Now. She took Tori by the arm and led her down to the lower cabin. We could hear raised voices but couldn't make out the words. The rest of us stood in awkward silence for a moment. Then my mom came over and hugged me tight. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I should have seen it. I should have protected you. It's not your fault, Mom, I said. But it was like everyone had been blind to something that was suddenly obvious. My uncle came over and apologized. My cousins apologized. Even people who weren't directly involved apologized for not noticing, for not speaking up. Maya pulled me aside as the sun finally dipped below the horizon. Why didn't you tell me how bad it was? She asked. Because I thought I was overreacting, I admitted. I thought maybe I was jealous, maybe I was being too sensitive. Tori's so good at making you doubt yourself. Those texts she sent me, Maya said. They weren't friendly. They were manipulation. She was trying to drive a wedge between us, and I almost let her because I thought she was just being welcoming. We stood there in the growing darkness, the boat gently rocking, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years, validated. The boat ride ended early. The captain, sensing the family crisis, offered to take us back to the dock. The celebration mood was gone, replaced by uncomfortable tension. Tori stayed in the lower cabin with her parents for the entire ride back. When we docked, she walked past everyone without making eye contact and got in her car alone. The next few days were intense. My phone blew up with messages from family members. Some were supportive, saying they were glad I'd finally spoken up. Others were concerned about the family division this had caused. A few, mostly Tori's closer friends, accused me of publicly humiliating her and ruining Uncle Richard's birthday. But here's the thing, the majority of my family, including Uncle Richard himself, thanked me. I was wondering when someone would finally call out Victoria's behavior, Uncle Richard told me over the phone. She's been coddled her whole life because she's charismatic and successful. But success doesn't give you the right to treat people like they're beneath you. Maya and I had long conversations about the whole situation. She showed me the full thread of texts from Tori. They were worse than I'd thought. Not just suggesting Maya could do better, but actively trying to create doubt about our relationship. She told me you were still hung up on your ex, Maya said. That you'd only gotten with me on the rebound. That you were going through something, and I shouldn't take the relationship too seriously. None of that is true, I said. I know that now, Maya replied. But she was subtle about it, planting little seeds of doubt over weeks. If you hadn't called her out, I honestly don't know if I would have realized what she was doing. A week after the boat incident, I got a text from Tori. It was long, rambling, and contradictory. She apologized, then defended herself, then blamed me for being oversensitive, then apologized again. It was clear she'd been told by her parents to make amends, but her heart wasn't in it. I didn't respond. 2 weeks later, I got a more sincere message. This time from Tori's dad, Uncle Marcus. He said Tori had started therapy. That she was dealing with some deep-seated insecurity issues that had manifested as the need to constantly be superior to others, especially me. That she was beginning to recognize how toxic her behavior had been. I'm not asking you to forgive her, he wrote. I'm just asking you to know that she's working on herself. And I'm sorry we didn't see what was happening sooner. I appreciated the message, but I still didn't reach out to Tori. 3 months have passed since the boat ride. The family dynamics have shifted dramatically. Tori no longer comes to every family gathering. When she does show up, she's quieter, less commanding of attention. Some people have started to warm back up to her, but it's not the same. As for me, I've never felt more seen, more validated, more free. My relationship with Maya is stronger than ever. She knows my history now, understands the dynamics I grew up with. And she makes it clear every day that I matter, that my presence isn't just tolerated but celebrated. My extended family has also changed how they interact with me. People ask about my life with genuine interest. My cousin Jake and I have gotten closer. He apologized for never speaking up before and said he admired my courage on the boat. Even my band is doing better. It's like not carrying around that weight of always feeling less than has freed up creative energy I didn't know I had. Do I regret calling Tori out so publicly? Sometimes I wonder if I could have handled it more privately. But then I remember, I had been handling it privately. For years. I'd been swallowing her comments, making excuses for her behavior, making myself smaller to accommodate her ego. The boat was the breaking point, and maybe it needed to be public because that's the only way the pattern could be broken. Here's what I learned from this whole experience. First, some people need you to be small so they can feel big. Tori's entire sense of self-worth was built on being better than everyone around her, especially me. My existence as someone who was related to her but less successful validated her superiority complex. Second, toxic behavior thrives in silence. Everyone had noticed Tori's patterns, but nobody said anything because she was family, because confrontation is uncomfortable, because it was easier to just let it slide. But silence doesn't protect anyone, it just enables the behavior to continue. Third, standing up for yourself might cost you relationships, but it will save your self-respect. I knew calling Tori out might cause family drama. I did it anyway because I was tired of being treated like I didn't matter. And finally, the right people will believe you. I was so afraid that if I spoke up about Tori's behavior, nobody would take me seriously. But when I finally did, I found that most people had seen it all along. They just needed someone brave enough to say it out loud. Pause. As for Tori and me, I don't know if we'll ever have a real relationship. Part of me hopes she genuinely works through her issues in therapy and becomes a better person. Part of me has accepted that some relationships are just too damaged to repair. But I do know this: I will never again make myself smaller for someone else's comfort. I will never again accept being treated as invisible or less than. And I will never again stay silent when someone tries to diminish me. That night on the boat, when Tori whispered that I get in the way, she expected me to do what I always did: shrink back, accept it, stay quiet. Instead, I finally took up space. And it changed everything. So, what do you think? Did I handle this the right way, or should I have confronted Tori privately instead of in front of everyone? Let me know in the comments below. If you've dealt with a toxic family member or someone who constantly made you feel less than, drop your story in the comments. Sometimes it helps to know you're not the only one. And if you enjoyed this story and want more real-life drama about standing up for yourself, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. I post new stories every week, and trust me, they're all worth your time. Also, check out the video I'm recommending right now. It's about someone who exposed their best friend's lies at a wedding, and the fallout was insane. Thanks for watching, and remember, you don't have to be extraordinary to deserve respect. You just have to be you. Don't let anyone make you feel like you get in the way. Fade out with gentle water sounds. The end.